Welcome to Ateneo de Naga University, the premier Jesuit university in southern Luzon. We are known for the holistic education we offer to our students throughout the programs we offer, from ACLC, grade school, junior high school, senior high school, college, graduate school, to College of Law. Guided by the Jesuit education tradition, we provide services for the total development of students through our online top-notch guidance programs and accessible digital library. We take pride in doing things with excellence, be it in sports or academics. We are recognized as the only autonomous and institutionally accredited university in Bicol. We have centers of excellence and development in information technology, teacher education, and business administration and entrepreneurship. Ateneo de Naga University underscores the formation of students as an integral part of our holistic approach to education, to form men and women for others in the service of the community. Be one of us. Be an Atenean. Choose Ateneo de Naga University. From the network of Jesuit schools all over the world, one sits at the heart of Bicol. Ateneo de Naga University, located in Naga City, the center of culture, good governance in Bicol, and the home to Asia's biggest Marian festival, the Peña Francia Festival. In 1940, the Society of Jesus founded the school by the invitation of the Archbishop of Cáceres. Originally an all-boys high school, Ateneo de Naga University now produces stellar graduates from preschool, grade school, junior high school, senior high school, college, graduate school, and law school. Ateneo de Naga University's signature quality stems from its thrust to not only provide excellent academic support, but also to nurture every aspect of the students' learning. Our tradition of excellence and service is defined by the holistic. Welcome to Ateneo de Naga University, the premier Jesuit university in southern Luzon. We are known for the holistic education we offer to our students throughout the programs we offer, from ACLC, grade school, junior high school, senior high school, college, graduate school, to College of Law. Guided by the Jesuit education tradition, we provide services for the total development of students through our online top-notch guidance programs and accessible digital library. We take pride in doing things with excellence, be it in sports or academics. We are recognized as the only autonomous and institutionally accredited university in Bicol. We have centers of excellence and development in information technology, teacher education, and business administration and entrepreneurship. Ateneo de Naga University underscores the formation of students as an integral part of our holistic approach to education, to form men and women for others in the service of the community. Be one of us. Be an Atenean. Choose Ateneo de Naga University. From the network of Jesuit schools all over the world, one sits at the heart of Bicol. Ateneo de Naga University, located in Naga City, the center of culture, good governance in Bicol, and the home to Asia's biggest Marian festival, the Peña Francia Festival.
Nagdadala na ako kang live
In
ni Mayo.
1940, the Society of Jesus founded the school by the invitation of the Archbishop of Cáceres. Originally an all-boys high school, Ateneo de Naga University now produces stellar graduates from preschool, grade school, junior high school, senior high school, college, graduate school,
Tapos mamitong
and
sa
law
certificate pala na later.
Ateneo de Naga University's signature quality
Sige, basahan ko lang.
stems
Hopefully,
from its
mabasa ko
thrust
talaga.
to not only provide excellent academic support, but also to nurture
better para
every aspect of the
mabasa ko man in
student's
advance.
learning.
Thank you.
Our tradition of excellence and service is defined by the holistic education we impart to our students. With the onset of the pandemic, we launched the Ateneo Normal, a carefully thought-of curriculum that has a networked, engaged, and optimized approach to learning designed for the new normal. It is networked through the use of our very own web terminal, MyADNU, and the UBES, or the University Web Enrollment System, for hassle-free online transactions and enrollment. Learning is also easy with the use of Google Classroom. Ateneo de Naga University, in partnership with internet providers and local companies, also offer affordable connectivity and computer packages. Learning is not complete without the digitized version of reference books, as well as subscriptions accessible through the online portal of the James O'Brien Library, the biggest and the most advanced library in Bicol. Ateneo Normal is engaged through its expert faculty members handling various disciplines and methods, flexible learning included. We have the most centers of excellence and development, including information technology, teacher education, business administration, and entrepreneurship. We have also been designated by the Department of Education to be a center of training. Ateneo de Naga University is the only university in Southern Luzon to be granted by CHED with autonomous status, and was one of the 3 to obtain institutional accreditation from PAASCU in 2009. Ateneo Normal is optimized for the psychosocial well-being of the students through the availability of online counseling, interventions and relevant programs on guidance, counseling, gender appreciation to help students develop personal and interpersonal competence are also made available online. We give importance to the promotion of faith and service through online retreats and formation activities. Inspired by the values and virtues of St. Ignatius of Loyola, founder of the Society of Jesus, the Ateneo de Naga University provides formation programs that promote Ignatian spirituality to its students. These are delivered through retreats and recollections, as well as community service. Community service and development aims to ensure that the academic and values formation of the students are rooted with purpose. After all, our mission is to form men and women for others. It is also optimized for the total development of each student in the tradition of cura personalis. We cater to a diverse group of students, and that is why we have over 50 organizations to support and encourage different interests as well as to cultivate different cultures. These organizations open a venue for sharing skills and talents as well as honing student leaders. In the Ateneo de Naga University, we have 6 colleges, and these are the colleges of Business and Accountancy, Nursing, Education, Humanities and Social Sciences, Computer Studies, Science and Engineering.
Come, be part of our 80 years of tradition, excellence, and service. Be an Atenean. Choose Ateneo de Naga University, the Jesuit University of Southern Luzon.
Bye Don.
Tayong buntag, mamingay. Sorry.
Good morning, Sir Lubang. I'm Carl po.
Naga.
I'm the MT. Good morning. So I'll call you Sir Fred, ano? I'll call you Sir Fred.
Friend na.
Opo. Ali.
Good morning, good morning.
Welcome to Ateneo de Naga University, the premier Jesuit university in southern Luzon. We are known for the holistic education we offer to our students throughout the programs we offer, from ACLC, grade school, junior high school, senior high school, college, graduate school, to College of Law. Guided by the Jesuit education tradition, we provide services for the total development of students through our online top-notch guidance programs and accessible digital library. We take pride in doing things with excellence, be it in sports or academics. We are recognized as the only autonomous and institutionally accredited university in Bicol. We have centers of excellence and development in information technology, teacher education, and business administration and entrepreneurship. Ateneo de Naga University underscores the formation of students as an integral part of our holistic approach to education, to form men and women for others in the service of the community. Be one of us. Be an Atenean. Choose Ateneo de Naga University. From the network of Jesuit schools all over the world, one sits at the heart of Bicol. Ateneo de Naga University, located in Naga City, the center of culture, good governance in Bicol, and the home to Asia's biggest Marian festival, the Peña Francia Festival. In 1940, the Society of Jesus founded the school by the invitation of the Archbishop of Cáceres. Originally an all-boys high school, Ateneo de Naga University now produces stellar graduates from preschool, grade school, junior high school, senior high school, college, graduate school, and law school. Ateneo de Naga University's signature quality stems from its thrust to not only provide excellent academic support, but also to nurture every aspect of the students' learning. Our tradition of excellence and service is defined by the holistic education we impart to our students. With the onset of the pandemic, we launched the Ateneo Normal, a carefully thought-of curriculum that has a networked, engaged, and optimized approach to learning designed for the new normal. It is networked through the use of our very own web terminal, MyADNU, and the UBES, or the University Web Enrollment System, for hassle-free online transactions and enrollment. Learning is also easy with the use of Google Classroom. Ateneo de Naga University, in partnership with internet providers and local companies, also offer affordable connectivity and computer packages. Learning is not complete without the digitized version of reference books, as well as subscriptions accessible through the online portal of the James O'Brien Library, the biggest and the most advanced library in Bicol. Ateneo Normal is engaged through its expert faculty members handling various disciplines and methods, flexible learning included. We have the most centers of excellence and development, including information technology, teacher education, business administration, and entrepreneurship. We have all
Sherwin, are we okay? Okay, good morning, everyone. I'll just check on with our technical team if we are live in our Facebook and YouTube. All right, so we are live. Thank you very much, Sherwin. Good morning, everyone. Good day. I am Carl Urine. I am the moderator for the 5th annual Father James O'Brien SJ Memorial Lecture Series. Our theme for this year is peace building and social development through sports. Today is September 22, 2021. To begin our activity, we will have the opening prayer to be led by Mr. Don V. Razon, followed immediately by our national anthem.
Dear Lord, I pray for the Philippines and I pray for the world. I pray for those who aren't sure about tomorrow, for those who are lost in the dark, who can't find the pieces, who can make sense of it all, for those who are suffering and are in pain, for those who have lost that which is irreplaceable, for those who are in war and refuge, for those who are grieving, mourning, and hurting, for those living in fear and in doubt, for those whose anger and uncertainty have turned into hatred, for those who are searching for inner peace and joy, and for those who have lost sight of their faith, hope, and their purpose, and the idea of someday finding joy again. I pray for every single person, dear Lord, regardless of their religion, beliefs, and ideologies. We are all your children. We all deserve a fighting chance to win. I pray that you work wonders in their life, that you bring peace to our nation, that you bring hope. I pray that you supernaturally touch and impact their lives in ways they've never felt before. Lord, your ways will always be different. We may not understand it, we may not even like it, but one thing we do know is that your will is the way, the truth, and the life. Be our light, be our guide, and be our protector. Be our Savior. Let your will be done. Whatever may be in all our lives, may we see it through. In your most blessed name, I pray. Amen.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ang silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hindi lang, tuyang ka ng magiting, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisihin. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong buhaw, may nilang ang tula at awit sa maglayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawag mo'y tagumpay na nagdiningning, ang bituin at araw niyang kailan kang may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhalik pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Ang iligaya na pagmay ng aabing, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Welcome to our international, national, and local viewers in YouTube, Facebook, and Zoom. To our Father President, ADNU High School Class of 1966, alumni, administrators, faculty, students, especially our PE classes and friends. You can interact with us by commenting, saying hi in our social media channels. Later, you will also be asked in the open forum for your questions. So please do interact with us. We will, of course, follow some rules. Our technical team will post them. Basically, we would like to ask everyone to mute their microphones if you are not asked to open them. Because there will be, of course, our main speaker and, of course, our panel of reactors and those involved in the main program. So in your screen, you will see those are our rules. This is an online event open to the public, free from registration. The webinar can be accessed live through the ADNU Library YouTube channels and, of course, the Facebook page. The whole event will be recorded. We highly encourage you to post your questions during the presentation. The moderator will acknowledge your questions and address them to the speaker during the open forum. E-certificates will be given to those who have completed the evaluation form to be given at the end. Evaluation link will be posted at the end of the webinar. And e-certificates will be sent through email a week after the webinar. So these are the reminders for our webinars for today. Continuing on, we would like to call on, of course, and introduce our speaker. We have Mr. Joseph Eric O. Claro, the College Athletics Director of the Ateneo de Naga University, to introduce our guest speaker.
This day will be exciting for this lecture series because of our invited guest. His name echoes the essence of service, dedication, and passion. His achievements, even when he was a student here in Ateneo de Naga, are truly commendable as they mirror his great sense of commitment and hard work. Bold-spirited, he hurdled and challenged to change the system. He became the athletics director here in Ateneo de Naga University and then transferred to Ateneo de Davao University. There, as the athletics director, he is also the founder and convener of the biggest independent sports movement, the Mindanao Peace Games. He was also selected to be part of the Coach Developer Program of the Department of Education. Last August of 2020, he was also appointed to be the pioneering consultant to the newly formed Bangsamoro Sports Commission, the first ever organized and mandated body to oversee the sports development program of our Muslim brothers and sisters in BARMM. He also mentored and coached the various sports organizations, including PRISAA, Bangsamoro Sports Commission, Philippine Olympians Association, and the Philippine Olympic Committee Athletics Commission. He is also the co-founder of Adrenaline Solutions, a Canada-based company that provides mentoring and coaching partnerships with sports organizations. Most recently, this June of 2021, he became a published book writer together with 26 other sports icons through Winning Still, a collection of essays and reflections of Filipino sportsmen and women during the time of pandemic. Being a husband, a father to their only son, is a blessing he always kept. Undoubtedly, he is a loving husband and a praiseworthy head of the family. A man I personally admire because of his wisdom, generous with his bright ideas, and unconquerable spirit. Remembering a quote from Coach John Wooden, success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming. You are in for a ride. I am honored to present to you my very good friend, a sports engineer, a convener, a jewel in the sports industry here in our beloved country, a coach, a life mentor, Coach NOLI Ayo.
The hope of sports, especially in Mindanao, is not only anchored in its leaders, in its coaches, but more importantly in you, our student athletes. Sports, if it's done merely games, will not change the world. It has to be deepened into experience. Kalaro, kaibigan, kasama. Naway sa Mindanao Peace Games, magkakasimula tayo bilang magkalaro. Sana maging magkaibigan, pero tandaan nyo, hindi lahat na kaibigan nyo willing sumama sa inyo sa mga bagay na gusto nyo. Kaya yun yung hanapin natin, yung mga makakasama. Hope that when you leave here, you will leave here as fellow journey women who have cared for Mindanao, who love Mindanao, and who are willing to be change makers. Minsan lang This is your moment too, young ladies. This is your time too. However, just like us, matatapos din ito. While you are still at your prime, while the world is your stage, while everything you do is almost impeccably good, I hope that you would make it worthwhile.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Elisa Seindorfer. I'm a senior writer at Adrenaline Solutions, and I'm here today to talk about the Mindanao Peace Games. In a moment, I'm going to introduce you to our two speakers. But first of all, I'd like to say Happy Fiesta and Viva la Virgen, and also a welcome to listeners from Ateneo de Naga University. So I would like to introduce our two speakers today. I'm sure this is going to be a really exciting session. The first is Coach NOLI, who is the convener of the Mindanao Peace Games. And we're also going to be speaking to Gian de la Cruz, one of the talented student athletes, to tell us about her experience. So I'd like to hand over now to Coach NOLI first to give us an introduction to himself and the games.
Good afternoon, everyone. Elisa, thank you for joining us this morning, and I'm very grateful for the time that you have committed to be able to.
My pleasure.
To allow us to share more what we are doing in the Mindanao Peace Games, and to be asked by a person who's really from using the lens from outside the country and who's willingly interested to understand more the context that we have in the Mindanao Peace Games. Again, I would like to greet na maray na aga sa gabos na nagdadangog ngunya na aldaw sa mga kapwa ko Bicolano. Ako po si NOLI Ayo. I'm here in Davao City, and I would like to wish everyone happy fiesta, and I'm just very grateful to Manoy Greg Castilla for inviting me to be the keynote speaker in our gathering, and of course Ma'am Edna and the Ateneo de Naga University Library community for making it very possible for me to join you. I am also very grateful that we have one talented student athlete from Mindanao who's an ambassador of the Mindanao Peace Games, all the way from Zamboanga, Gian de la Cruz.
Hello po. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Fiesta sa Ateneo de Naga University. I am Gian Kathleen S. de la Cruz, a student athlete of Ateneo de Zamboanga University and team captain of the Ateneo Lady Aguilas basketball. I'm just so happy and honored and humbled to be here. We're just so excited to share to you what we're doing right now in Mindanao, especially the impact of Mindanao Peace Games, not just for us athletes, but to all of us as individuals and as citizens of the Philippines.
Thank you so much to the both of you. I'd like to just start asking you a few questions. Could you just tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start the Mindanao Peace Games back in 2014?
In 2013, when the former president of Ateneo de Naga, who is now the current president of Ateneo de Davao, invited me to consider relocating down south, he said something that really caught my attention. I would allow you to do the things that you are doing in your basketball program, those creative stuff, those out-of-the-box things, and let you do that in the context of Mindanao. In 2014, 3 of my counterparts from the 2 other Ateneos in Mindanao, Ateneo de Zamboanga, where Gian is from, and Ateneo de Cagayan, visited me unplanned. It wasn't planned. And that's when, the idea, why not collaborate? And I told them, if we're going to do a sports organization, it should not just be your ordinary sports organization. Yeah. After that, it just went from one year to another. And we're just happy that even until now, even with this pandemic, we're still connected. We're still doing things significant, both in our schools and in Mindanao. And I mentioned to you, one of our milestones is to be able to collaborate with Rock Ed and the 26 writers, notable sportsmen and women in Philippine sports, and we came up with that winning still book. Yeah.
So what would you say is the ultimate vision and goal of the Mindanao Peace Games?
It can be perhaps summarized into these 3 areas: women empowerment, leadership development, and community building. It's very intentional for us, Eliza. It's not, I mentioned, it's not just games. We do coaches forum. We do leadership programs, both for our coaches, for sports directors, and for student athletes. And we even have, leadership summit outside the country. And I mentioned about student leadership programs. I'm happy that we are able to be joined by GM because she is a product of one of the more popular programs of the Mindanao Peace Games, our Leadership Summit for Athletes.
And for those people who are not familiar with the concept of sport being used as a vehicle for developing leadership, how can sport unite people, especially in an era or a region of conflict?
Mindanao Peace Games and even the Mindanao Peace Games Leadership Summit for Athletes was very transformative encounter in my life because it really changed my perspective about sports and how can it be a tool for peace building and actually collaborating with other athletes, with other coaches, with other schools in creating this strong foundation through sports. And it really taught me how to be a better person. I have this kind of character development at some point because of Mindanao Peace Games. It really taught me how to tone down and try to open up myself to other people. They really helped me just to be at ease, not to be conscious about what I do or the differences that we have, but to be open and accept all the stories that I hear from them, from their different ethnicities, different religions, and appreciating and accepting, oh, we have this common ground. And we found that common ground in sports and also to our stories as well. Because in Mindanao Peace Games, it will not just really, play or compete. We with the motto kalaro kita hindi kalaban.
The kalaro kita hindi kalaban, Eliza, was inspired by that poem used in one of the Olympics. You are my adversary, you are not my enemy. That first line, I was contemplating in that line, and then suddenly I just thought of it. Kalaro kita hindi kalaban. At least that poem emphasizes the value of the person on the other side of a game. That no game will exist without the other person or the other team. And no ultimate test of courage, no ultimate test of strength can be achieved without the other side pushing you to give out that ultimate best, that ultimate strength that you may not realize you have, but only in this moment of engagement that you would both realize, I need you, you need me.
Yes, that's a lovely sentiment. Thank you both. That was a wonderful explanation. How do you feel have the Mindanao Peace Games become a vehicle for peace and development in the region specifically?
We're very happy, Eliza, that this past 5 years, we really have expanded, especially in Mindanao, our Muslim brothers and sisters, even the indigenous people, they found a place in the Mindanao Peace Games. Gian mentioned about a common ground. And it's in the Mindanao Peace Games. We are very intentional to include that in all our experiences. We termed it shared experience. For any peace initiative to really materialize, to at least move forward, there has to be a common ground. There has to be a safe space. We may be different in faith, in belief, but when we are in the space, respect is paramount. Faith and trust to each other is imperative. And we may not agree every time, but respect will guide us to move forward slowly but surely.
Do you feel that it is a fairly unique organization at the moment in the Philippines in terms of its culture?
It is, Eliza. Everything that we do is intentional, that gears towards leadership development. We are just really using sports as the carrot to entice everyone. And we even have our leaders summit outside the country. I personally believe that if you want to grow your leadership, their vision also have to be cast far away. Meaning it's like a net. You throw it as far as you can. Here in the Mindanao Peace Games, we encourage our leaders to dream more, to see more. And in the seeing of the more, to see the gap. But many times you do not you are unable to bridge the gap because you do not see the gap, or you don't see how wide it is. And every time you go outside the country, the gap becomes so glaring. And it becomes a regular reminder why we, the leaders of Mindanao Peace Games, exist. That we are not just here to conduct games. We are here to influence the dreams of the next generation. We are here to influence the aspirations of our coaches. We are here to influence the way things are done beyond sports, character development, faith building, enriching communities, setting plans. And we would always tell this, do not settle for what has been your regular. We will go and reach out to more people who are good in what they do. Then we learn from them. And one of the best things about this pandemic is this online platform. It's now so easy. It's more, it's easier now to learn new things from bright individuals or from kindred individuals.
No, that's fascinating. And to extend what you said just then, I know that one of the expressed intentions of the Mindanao Peace Games is to break stereotypes as well. Could you explain a little about what that means and how you actually go about doing that?
The stereotyping, this is really more on the way games are conducted. That we put premium not on the one who wins or on the team that wins, but winning is important, don't get me wrong. But we put premium really on the experience. One of the gems in the Mindanao Peace Games is the popcorn and movie night. In the 5-day program, on the middle, Wednesday, we would always end early. At 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., all the games would stop. Because we will go to the mall and watch a movie all in one movie house. So can you imagine it, Eliza? 600, 500 athletes used to be competing against each other, all sharing that experience. We were made to believe that sports teaches character. I realized that sports does not teach character. Even if you let young kids play football, baseball, basketball for hundreds of times, if they do not realize the values and the gems of the experience, no character will be taught. People, mentors, adults, coaches, they are the ones who teach character.
Yes.
That's where, as a group, the Mindanao Peace Games, we're very mindful about teaching our adults that, if you want to achieve peace, you have to go beyond the trophy cases. You have to go beyond the medals. You have to see beyond the gold, because the golden moment is not in the podium. The golden moment is not in the medal. The golden moment is when you make that handshake, when you create a lifelong bond, and more importantly, when you decide to work together. And this is where the kalaro, kaibigan, kasama comes in, Eliza. Kasama, this is the third and most important level. You become adversary. After the game, you become friends. We are hoping that when you shake hands, when you become deeper friends, you would see the value of working together for Mindanao. That when you go beyond the games, when you're done with college, you maintain connection and you would say, hey, Gian, let's work together. Let's give back. Let's go back for Mindanao. We're no longer athletes, but we're better citizens now.
That's lovely. That's so interesting. And why, in the context of the Mindanao Peace Games, was it so important to you to develop an all-female event, which is kind of a trailblazing concept in itself?
I said on something, invest where it matters most. And women in sports, oh my, they need it so much, at least when we started 5 years ago. And until now, I am sure they need it more. But I'm just happy that we have made strides to slowly bridge the gap. And we're happy that now young leaders like Gian, and they're not just good athletes. They're, Gian is a published writer of Winning Still. Gian has spearheaded online movement during this pandemic. Gian has been a speaker, and just 2 days ago, one of our student athletes from Ateneo de Davao was invited to be a speaker in a online leadership program for grade school students of a school up north in Luzon, Eliza.
Brilliant.
So another product of the Mindanao Peace Games, now learning to share what she learned. And of course, one thing about what's the best thing about investing in young women, and we never realized it back then, but now we're realizing most of them will become mothers. And our very first teachers, Eliza.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And then you coach your children. Yeah. I mean, when you bring up your children, you coach them, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
And then you pass on the right character, the right values, and it's such a powerful thing.
We're creating ripples that hopefully will become waves of change in a decade or so.
Exactly. And Gian, how does it feel, if you don't mind me asking, to compete in an all-women's event?
It's amazing. It's an amazing experience. We have that limit of opportunities that we have, even we really want to. But when I heard for the first time about Mindanao Peace Games and how my coach really was, inspired by it, I was interested. I really want to get to know Coach Noli. Who's this Coach Noli? I just really love the experience, and I just found that there are men who are willing to support us and who are willing to push us to move forward with them, kasama, together. And I'm just very grateful to Coach Noli and all the MPG leaders because they believe the potential of these young ladies that we have in Mindanao. And hopefully we can bring this in all parts of the Philippines, and of course to share this all parts of the world. Because this is not just about sports, it's more than that. And I just believe to its value, to its vision and mission, and how it can really help athletes to be the best version of themselves and to be the better person that we want to have in this world. So it was an amazing experience because I have been reluctant, actually. I was hesitant at first when I was invited to be part of the MLSA because for me, it will just be a talk. It will just be a conversation. I will not learn something. I will just listen. But there's something sparked in me, in my heart, that, oh, this is interesting. With this experience, with this journey, I'm just very grateful because I said yes and I delivered. I showed up. And I know that I'm doing the right thing. And because I'm doing the right thing, it is because of the people behind me, believing in me that I can. And because of them, I'm here. So I'm just very, very happy with Mindanao Peace Games and with Coach Noli because he's the guy. Coach Noli and my coach, they are the mentors that I'm blessed to have in my life. My mission right now is to inspire my teammates and also other future young athletes that they can be more than just an athlete. Atleta at iba pa. Athlete and more. Beyond more. So that's all.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
I believe in this two words. Two words that is a powerful thought to me. Experience, experience. Experience, experience. Because the kind of experience you will provide to others would most of the time be the experience that you've been through.
Yes.
So if that happens, it's just going to be a case of passing to the next, what you learned from where you are. When these young women, when they teach their children, when they influence their husbands, part of the narrative that will be changed is the way they view sports, the way they view their opponents, the way they view experiences and the value of friendship and working together. And Gian also mentioned about the value of men supporting. When we go face to face in the Philippines, that's one of the next projects for Mindanao Peace Games to expand the community of young men who will provide spaces for women, who will be supportive and understanding and respectful of aspirations of women in their communities. And I am hopeful that would create a better community, more empowered women, and a better country for all of us.
I have to say, I've not seen such an explicit, pragmatic kind of use of transformational leadership in any sport for peace organisation as clearly as it is in the Mindanao Peace Games. So I just think it's amazing. It's fantastic. So thank you guys for that answer. I was just wondering, do you have any specific examples of maybe a particular group of people or one particular athlete or a particular example of how the Mindanao Peace Games has changed a very specific opportunity for one person, or changed something very specific, like a story or personal story that you have?
As one of our young leaders in the Mindanao Peace Games, his name's Rashid Sendad. He's a senior high school teacher for Dato Ibrahim Paglas Memorial College. He joined our leadership programs outside Mindanao. He joined me in Singapore. And I remember this one morning before we left Singapore, before we went to the airport, he mentioned to me when he was looking, and I still vividly remember his face. It was like he was just feeling the moment because we're going to leave. And then he said, I envy this because we don't have this in the Philippines. I was so happy I did not let it simply pass by as just another expression. I was able to catch it and pause and call the attention of Rashid and said, Rashid, we did not go all the way to Singapore so that we will bring back envy to the Philippines. I brought all of you here so that we can dream bigger.
Brilliant.
You have seen a bigger place. This is what you bring home, a piece of the bigger place. Transformative moments happen sometimes by planned, or sometimes moments like that in Singapore. It was never planned. But the leader should be deep enough, rich enough, matured enough to pinpoint those moments and transform what appears to be a single passing of time into a bigger piece of education, re-education, and life-changing event.
There is something that I've read about when I've read interviews with you or information about the Mindanao Peace Games. Could you tell me why one of your goals is to be replaced and forgotten, ultimately?
I said it, and I will always put it into context. I would wish that I would mentor somebody, or at least a group of individuals that would become good enough, or more importantly, better than me. And that when I leave this place, they are ready to replace me, and they will do extraordinary and remarkable things, that what I did would just become an appendix, because what they will be doing is far better than mine. Life is an infinite game. You may be the star player of your lifetime, but you will surely be replaced. And another star player from another lifetime will come your place, or will occupy your place. And they will forget what you did. But if you are transformative enough, if you have impacted the lives of others, your remarkable things, it will be passed on. And that's what, when I would say that my goal is to be replaced, my goal is to be forgotten, it is with a desire, because somebody or a wave of leaders will replace me, and they will do such a remarkable job in Mindanao, and I would gladly walk away.
Now, for somebody like me, who is not from the Philippines, or also obviously for people in the Philippines too, who may just be hearing about the Mindanao Games for the first time, how could people who want to get involved in the Mindanao Peace Games get involved, whether that be volunteering, participating, buying the lovely polo shirts that you guys are wearing, or anything else? How could we get more involved?
Last year, when we had our Mindanao Peace Games Leadership Summit for Athletes, it was the first time where we opened the doors for men and women to come join with us in the sessions. And not just in Mindanao, but in a lot of places in the Philippines as well. We are open for collaboration. And it was a great experience because we get to know the different kinds of perspective. We're not just all girls or all women in the virtual room, but we also have men, and we can also listen their own stories as well, how they understand, and they also learn something about their experience. And because of that, we had that kind of bond. Actually, we had created a bond of acceptance, respect, being kind to one another, be open, because everyone has the seat on the table. That you are belong. You're not different from other people.
One of the things that I would also emphasize in terms of supporting Mindanao Peace Games is to let people know that what we are trying to do is not to create an organization, but really to start a movement. And they don't have to be in Mindanao to be part of the Mindanao Peace Games. What we are encouraging them is to create their own Mindanao Peace Games. Mindanao Peace Games is a way of thinking. It's a way of, it's a belief system. When you put it in the heart of the right person or in the right group, it can even grow into something even better. I just like to say this, Eliza, and this is very something I would always mention to our leaders in the Mindanao Peace Games. I learned this from one mentor of mine, a dear friend and a mentor of mine, that really made a mark when I was a young leader and when I was not yet in Mindanao. He mentioned this to me: strive to live a life creating a ceiling that will be the floor of the next generation. And I'm glad he said that to me, because I've been just trying to do that in my life. Hopefully, when I'm up and done, Anton, my son, will be stepping on the ceiling that I created.
That's very moving. That's amazing. And the last question I have for you is, what do you see as the future for the Mindanao Peace Games?
Mindanao Peace Games as a movement, I see this as something that the Philippines will embrace. That we would see Mindanao Peace Games events happening across the country, pockets, that when we see each other, we might be competing, but we see each other as kalaro, hindi kalaban, adversary, not as an enemy. And again, when we see each other in that context, building a nation becomes easier, because you would see the people to your left, to your right, as an integral part of what you aim to achieve. That you are not there to eliminate anyone. Instead, you are there to enrich everyone. And that's really my main dream, Eliza, and to see Mindanao Peace Games going beyond Mindanao. And creating a community of leaders that are willing to give back and go back to Mindanao. That eventually they will nurture Mindanao, because this is one of the best way they can contribute to nurturing the country.
I find it very inspiring. I thank you both for taking part in this talk today. And it's been amazing to hear more about the Mindanao Games. I think it's something that could not only inspire sport in the Philippines, but internationally as well. And I just wondered, Gian, is there anything that you would like to add in terms of your experiences as an athlete in the Games?
As an athlete from Mindanao, and I believe my coach believes in this, that we also want to change the culture here itself in our city. Ripples of change, step by step, little by little. We also want to impart that kind of culture that we have in Mindanao Peace Games in different kinds of events that we have in the city, and especially in many parts of Mindanao, because we believe the values that we get in Mindanao Peace Games. I know in just little amount of change, you will impact someone, even just one, even just one.
So true.
Let's start where we are in our communities, because it will also really help to build that kind of foundation. There will always be those kind of sparks in your surroundings that will really help you, see things in brighter things in this time, during this pandemic. Even you're in those kind of dark days, in these four corners of my room, there will always be those people will spark and lit the light in you, and will keep pushing you forward, keep waiting still in this time of the pandemic. I have with in this pandemic, I just want to share that I got quiet. I got down, and I have questioned in myself, in my leadership, how can I move forward with my team? How can I lead? There was a white noise. You can't hear anything. But I realized those white noise became the noise of possibilities, that I can do more with these four corners of my wall and being in front of my laptop, that I can do something, that I can change something, or even move something forward, to keep moving forward, I don't know what will the future holds in my life, but I'm just so happy that I'm here and I'm striving to thrive. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jen. That was a very inspiring answer. And I feel very fortunate to have spoken to such inspiring people today about the Mindanao Games. And also, I would just like to quickly mention that you embodied the spirit of everything you talk about with the Mindanao Peace Games in this last year, when you guys wrote Winning Still Together, which was an amazing, inspirational sports book as well, and something hugely positive that came out of the last year of the pandemic. So you guys are living examples of everything that you try to embody in the Mindanao Peace Games as well. So I'd just like to say thank you for talking to me today, and for being so exceptionally inspiring, so pragmatic in the way that you've described how transformational leadership is being used as a means of pushing forward the true value of sport, which I'm a huge advocate of. I hope that I can somehow get a bit more involved in the Mindanao Peace Games, and that a lot of people around the world do get to hear the Mindanao Peace Games message. So thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you very much, Eliza, and thank you very much, and Naga, thank you for listening.
Growing up as a baseball lover and as a baseball athlete, I fell in love with a movie entitled Field of Dreams. The story is about a baseball lover. When he retired, he had a massive cornfield. Then one day, an idea came to him. What if I remove the corn and put up a baseball diamond? Every night, he would hear this powerful line: build it, and they will come. Build it, and they will come. I believe, just like that cornfield and the baseball field, the Mindanao Peace Games is very much like that. Before Mindanao Peace Games, we also nakita namin laro. Pag nagtitipon-tipon, ang mga atleta at coaches, ang number one na gagawin dapat maglaro. Dito sa ginawa namin Field of Dreams, it was like seeing a cornfield, and we decided, let's make it into a beautiful baseball field by making sure that we provide an experience that every year, when our young athletes and coaches come together, they will see and experience the love for their games.
Welcome to the planet. Well, systems. Everyone's here.
every year we see beyond the game. Lahat po tayo tatanda, lahat po tayo hihina, lahat po tayo papalitan. Ang pinakamahalaga, pag tumanda na tayo, pag humahina na tayo, pag pinalitan na tayo, ano ang iambag natin sa Mindanao?
Between how it is and how it should be. Dare you to move, dare you to move, dare you to lift yourself up off the floor. Dare you to move, dare you to move like today never happened. Today never happened. Maybe redemption has fallen to earth. Maybe forgiveness is right.
Naway, sa mga gabing yun, baka may marinig din tayo kagaya ng kay Kevin Costner. Pero siguro hindi na yun na build it and they will come. Siguro maririnig natin, ginawa mo ng maayos, okay na yan. Sana marinig natin yun, binigay mo ang lahat, okay na yan. Ginawa mo ng maayos, okay na yan.
Dare you to move, dare you to lift yourself up off the floor. I dare you to move, dare you to move like today never happened.
Gawin natin ng maayos. Gawin ang sapat, gawin ang dapat, gawin ang nararapat. Hindi lang para sa Mindanao Peace Games, para sa Mindanao.
Thank you very much, Sir Noli, Coach Noli Ayo. And of course, we would like to also thank Gian and Elisa. To continue on, we would like to go to our panel of reactors. Our distinguished panel of reactors will share to us their insights on our lecture for today. Each reactor is given 5 to 8 minutes, and allow me to introduce our 3 reactors for today. Our first reactor builds peace through humanitarian disarmament, peace education, supporting peace processes and social enterprise, and decolonialization. He was technical consultant of the United Nations Regional Center for Peace and Disarmament. Currently, he is the regional representative of the Nonviolence International Southeast Asia. Currently, the national coordinator since 2010 Philippine campaign to ban landmines, and the founder and CEO from War to Peace Center in South Cotabato. So please welcome Mr. Alfredo Ferraris Lubang. Sir Fred.
Salamat.
Our second reactor is the peace advisor to City Mayor of Davao. She helps design local peace-building initiatives in areas of violent conflict. She was a member for 3 years of the Philippine government panel negotiating with the MILF and was the first chair of the panel implementing the comprehensive peace agreement on the Bangsamoro. Please welcome our second reactor, Ms. Irene M. Santiago. Our third and last reactor is currently an associate professor of the Department of Philosophy at the Ateneo de Naga University. His research interests cover classical philosophy, Aristotle and Thomas Aquinas, phenomenology, existentialism, hermeneutics, and deconstruction. His teaching experience covers the history of Western philosophy, Thomistic scholasticism, metaphysics, ethics, aesthetics, philosophy of ecology, and the philosophy of history. Please welcome Dr. Michael Roland Hernandez. So again, a round of applause for our reactors. Let's begin with Sir Fred.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Sir Fred, we can.
Marhay na aga, mayong buntag. Assalamualaikum. Warmest greetings of peace and good health from Cotabato City. Maraming salamat. Thank you to Ateneo de Naga University for this invitation and to be part of this event. Just mabalos. I am really honored. Thank you to Coach NOLI and to Gian for that inspiring sharing. And I'd just like to share some views. No? There are actually a lot of people involved in the sharing, not just the athletes, no? The people around the athletes, either the coaches, the families, but also critically the spectators, like us, mga cheerers. When I watched the Olympics of our fellow Mindanaoan Olympians in Tokyo Olympics, and they got the medal, I followed through the games, and the moment they got the medal, I cried, you know, at that moment. Tapos, and then when they got the medal, the national anthem was played. I cried, and then later I watched the replay. I cried again. Bakit nga ba tayo nakaka-relate? No, what is it there? And then in the first time in history, all Olympians who got the medals are from Mindanao. And then there was this, of course, in the social media, all the comments, when you post something, someone would comment that, you know, it's not really about the Mindanaoans. Let's have a Filipino pride. It's not just, saying they are Mindanaoan Olympians. They are Filipino, you know. And so many claims or owns the athletes, you know. But the point is, that's exactly my point. Mindanaoans are also Filipino. No? It is not just a land of probably referred to as terrorists or violence, a land of violence, which has been defined through years of prejudice. We have to change the narrative. Mindanaoans also bring Philippine pride. So it's not bad to say, you know, we're so happy, we're so proud, all Olympians were from Mindanao. The other point is, when you look at the stories of these athletes, of these Olympians, the storyline is like this, no? Born poor, struggled it out to have equal chances in life of overcoming poverty, got some support for the sports they love, almost at the brink of giving up but never did, got a chance, and in this case, Olympics, got a medal, overcomes poverty and prejudice, and then finally inspires everyone. Yan ang storyline. And if you look at it, parang pare-pareho lahat. If you look at Yumir Marshall, Carlo Biado, and even now the recent US Open 9-ball champion, another Carlo Biado, if you look at his story, hindi man taga Mindanao, ganun din, nagkadi ako sa Villamor Air Force, ako dati, nagbenta lang ako. Ganun din ang storyline. And then someone said, hindi ba yan, is it not the storyline also of your fellow Mindanaoan athlete like Manny Pacquiao? And I said, it's different, no? Because if you look at the life story of Pacquiao also, born poor, but it's interesting to look at that when after being born poor, struggle it out to have equal chances in life, um, there is something there that the sports exploited the athletes, or you cannot afford to go to the Olympics. You rather compete professionally because in professional you earn a few, you earn at least a few thousand pesos just to survive daily life. Buwis buhay ang tawag sa mga atletang ganun, no? And then got equal chance of life because winning professional bouts and going up, and then earned a lot, and then overcomes poverty. After overcoming poverty, I end up there. What they did with the money, the wealth they accumulated, is the decision of that athlete. But I prefer that story than being born poor, struggled it out with the challenges in life, enters politics, and becomes disgustingly wealthy. And that's the other side of the story. This is now a part of that kind of storylines, no? And I could relate much to that as well, because everyone, I think, or some had that sports life as well. I was lucky to be part of a volleyball team in high school. Our coaches becomes our second parents. They guided us, and if we look at our stories as well of the whole members of that team, born poor, struggled it out, got sports scholarships in universities, played sports while studying, graduated, and then changes their lives, and then overcomes poverty. It's really and that's why, hashtag relate much din yung mga ibang atleta. The other point is, which is really crucial for athletes, is not just being influencers. You become lodi or idols, influencers, but having these peace perspectives of becoming athletes and go into athletic activism. We've seen that in some popular basketball sports, LeBron James and many others advocating for Black Lives Matter, women athletic activism, who really struggled it out for gender equality, for equal pay for national women's football team, or even against sexual abuse. If you look at the cases of the coach of the women's gymnast and got justice on that. But still, there are, we really have to encourage athletic activism as well and getting those peace perspectives. 5 years ago, here in the Bangsamoro, my team, we started the hashtag respect the rules and went into using sports as a platform for advocacy. This was done during the month of international humanitarian law, that's August, and during the peace month of September. It started out with this popular online game, Clash of Clans. I don't know if some of you played this, but it's an online game, Clash of Clans, of battles against clans. But we changed the rules. Hashtag respect the rules, meaning you cannot drop bombs, you cannot use poison, all these other ways of waging wars that are against international law. And we invited everyone here. But the next year, we ventured into the first Bangsamoro shootout and slam dunk competition, inviting the armed forces of the Philippines, the Philippine National Police, and the Bangsamoro Islamic Armed Forces to play together in a basketball game and slam dunk competition games. I was together with Toto Alba here, who's the current executive director of the Bangsamoro Sports Commission, with Ali Pasigan also of the Bangsamoro Sports Commission. But if you look at it, it's interesting. And this is where I love being hosting. Imagine this line: PNP passes the ball to the BIFF, BFX to AFP, AFP shoots. If you look at the phrase, when I look at it, if they're shooting against each other, basketball terms, but if this is a friendly game, it's good to see each other, in another platform, respecting the rules. Respecting the rules is also interesting because you have to know the rules. For example, in our daily lives, yellow traffic light means the rule was supposed to say we have to slow down, but in real life, you people go faster to beat the yellow light. Same with games. There are certain rules we need to follow, and that's why even in wars there are indeed limits to the limits to wars. No? So in our advocacy, we integrated banning landmines. That banning landmines, and if you look at the recent case last months ago, a athlete, no, a very good athlete, Keith Absalon, was killed using a, let's say, command detonated landmines, as the New People's Army say. But as we look at it, there should be a very clear understanding on the rules itself on the use of these kinds of explosive weapons. But from our perspective, there is some rules. May nanonood ng mga games, alam yung rules. But then there's also a point where we also love to say, baka naman minsan mabago yung rules. May pressure din yung audience. For example, when at my time, basketball was played without the 25-second limit, and it becomes slow, and they changes it now, meron ng 25 seconds, and so it's faster. So we're trying to put in some rules and some limits so that when the rules are set, everyone hopefully would respect it, and hopefully that also goes as to our daily lives na may pagrespeto sa rules of law and rules of war. Doon lang muna magtatapos. Doon na ako magtatapos at mamaya na lang yung ibang points. Maraming salamat ulit.
Thank you very much, Sir Fred. Thank you very much, Sir Fred. May we go to Ma'am Irene now?
Yes. Marhay na aga sa Indogabos, and happy fiesta to you in Naga. I am very pleased indeed to be speaking at this 5th annual Father James O'Brien Memorial Lecture Series on peace building and social development through sports, and especially because I'm sharing the virtual stage with my friends NOLI Ayo and Fred Lubang, and also Professor Michael Hernandez. On a personal level, Naga is very close to my heart. You see, when your favorite and eminent son, Raul Rocco, ran for president in 1998, I was his running mate. In fact, when the counting was over, Raul had carried me on his coattails, and I won handily in Naga. So you can now understand how very pleased I am to participate in this lecture series. What would you say if I asked you, what does a peaceful society look like? Not a peaceful person, a peaceful society. Have you ever asked for something and didn't get it? You threw a tantrum, you thrashed, you ranted, but still you didn't get what you were asking for. I've learned as a mother to tell my children that if you can't name it, you can't have it. Most people talk about peace as the absence of violence. Therefore, there are more studies about war and violence than there are of peace. But it's like studying disease. There have been extensive studies about every disease imaginable. But studying disease doesn't actually tell us how to be healthy. It wasn't until we were told about diet, exercise, mental health, that we realized that if we wanted to be healthy, we had to know what health entailed. This is what the think tank based in Australia, the Institute of Economics and Peace, has done. IEP looked at all available data and studies and indices, in fact, about 5,000 of them, and then they were able to come up with the answer to the question, what makes a society peaceful? They called this the 8 pillars of positive peace, because stopping violence alone is negative peace. And here are the 8 pillars of positive peace. a well-functioning government, low levels of corruption, acceptance of the rights of others, good relations with neighbors, sound business environment, high levels of human capital, equitable distribution of resources, and free flow of information. Now to our topic today, peace building and social development through sports. As I see it, sport has a direct bearing on 3 of those 8 pillars. These pillars are acceptance of the rights of others, good relations with neighbors, and high levels of human capital. I would like to offer a simple definition of peace building and development. Peace building is the process of increasing connectors and decreasing dividers so that equitable development can occur. Sports is such a great space for increasing connectors through teamwork and respect for each other's strengths and vulnerabilities, for getting rid of binary thinking, as in us and them, that is at the root of so much hatred and division, and eventually of violence. Mindanao Peace Games anchors its core message on sino ang kalaro, and sino ang kaibigan, and sino ang kasama, not sino ang kalaban. Think of the many horrific instances in world history where one group worked brutishly to annihilate the other. Hitler and the Jews, the Bosnians and the Serbs, Christians and the Muslims in the Philippines in the early days and in the not so long ago. The more sports increases the connectors and decreases the dividers, the stronger it contributes to peace. On the other hand, development is the process of increasing capacities and decreasing vulnerability so that we can expand people's choices to lead a long, happy life. Increasing capacities, decreasing vulnerabilities. With what goal? So we can expand people's choices to lead long, happy lives. If you look at the poor, it is really a life with no choices. No choice as to where to live. No choice as to what to accept as work. No choice as to what to eat if there is something to eat. No choice about the most basic of human living. Being poor is having no or very limited choices. So the role of sports in one of the pillars of positive peace, high levels of human capital, is truly significant. For what is human capital? Or what does a human being have as capital? Education and health. Those are what we humans have to be able to create and expand our choices to lead long, happy lives. In the 8 pillars, it is vital that we consider the differential impact of sports on women and men and other genders. This year's Olympic Games turned the idea of masculine as strong and bold, and feminine as weak and submissive on its head. Our female athletes, especially our gold and silver medalists, have shown that female is strong, female is ambitious, female drives for excellence, as well as the male. This is the way sports upends equality of opportunity, equality of access, and equality of assets. If we only remember increasing connectors and decreasing dividers, increasing capacities and decreasing vulnerabilities, we are on our way to using sports to build a peaceful and equitable society. Yes, we can name it and we can have it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Irene. May we call on Sir Dr. Ronald Hernandez?
Okay, good morning, everyone. I am very humbled to be invited in this forum. I actually feel nervous because this is not the usual philosophical lecture I usually do. I've spoken in many international conferences, but this is the first time that I'll be speaking in an international conference, but on sports. No? And I actually learned a lot. Seeing NOLI here actually gives me a lot of joy. He's my friend since high school, NOLI, when we were sacristan in Peña Francia. So happy fiesta, everyone. Hope you have enjoyed it, even though we have the pandemic. So I actually have many things to say, realize, and but the thing that I can probably say about what NOLI is doing is that it's not only admirable, but it's also enviable, no? Nakakaingit tong ginagawa ni NOLI kasi hindi lang sa scope, hindi lang sa effect, but it's actually more on how it transforms every individual that his projects are reframing, are capturing. And looking back into what we have been doing in the past years, especially since I joined as a kind of saling pusa sa program, it was very surprising for me to see how good our student athletes have become because of the sports that they do. So it's not only physical, it's not only about their mental toughness, but the overall formation that sports does to our students. And it's really impressive, to see how this mentality can be used to transform the whole of Mindanao. In my research, Mindanao has always been a lot of problems. Even in my dissertation, I have focused on it as a special concern that has to do, for example, with nationalism, etc., etc. But I mean, to reach the whole of Mindanao in a very strategic manner through sports is a very impressive thing. So just to highlight my first points, that we are always in a common search for the good, and even in the midst of this pandemic, the search for the good is something that we should always continue. And sports, I know it's hard for everyone, even me, because I love playing basketball and all those stuff. But we must always continue to for this good, because it is something that it's the only thing that can actually keep us sane, with all this stuff. So I think it's a way for us to see how human flourishing, how we realize our potentialities, is tied up in the many ways sports is providing opportunity for everyone. Fulfilling ourselves, of course, can be done in many ways. When I was young, I used to think that sports are really for the good. For example, if you're young and then you do sports and then you get rich, like Pacquiao, etc., etc. But now I've come to realize that being in sports can actually be your lifelong passion, as NOLI does. And it's not something that a specific individual should do. Even me as a father, and I have a son and two daughters who are actually both chess champions, I realized that it's all connected. It's not only that you're a father and then you're a professor and then you somehow teach your children sports on the side. It's one whole big responsibility that has a lot of aspects. So having said that, I think that sports He's a great equalizer, no? As Sir Fred has mentioned a while ago. Because it gives opportunities, no? And I especially like the fact that the empowerment of women is really at the forefront of what NOLI is doing. Okay. I also like to emphasize as a last point, in relation to what Ma'am Irene has said earlier about peace, being the ultimate goal of our social coexistence. I'm not so sure how to explain it, but I think it's really the fact that we recognize ourselves as persons first before you are a certain ethnic group. You're from Naga, you're from Mindanao, you're from Manila, you're from the north. No? Because when you play sports, your ethnicity doesn't really matter. For example, in what I do, chess before, I mean, there's really no barrier. So I think, and I believe really that if we really want to make all the violence stop and progress can happen, especially in Mindanao, who happens to be the richest island in the country, then sports is really one of the best ways to do it. We need to engage more in education and advocacy, such as NOLI is doing right now. So I wish NOLI the best and his group, and thank you everyone for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc Mike. Thank you very much to all our panels. We will have a little break. I'd like to call on a person from batch 1966 in support of the O Bicolania Fund. With us is Mr. Greg Castilla, class of 1966, to share his new book. Sir Greg?
Thank you, Carl. Diyos maray na aga sa Indogabos. And since I taught in Ateneo de Davao for 2 years, 1973 to 1975, maayong buntag sa tanan. And for those who are in North America, good evening. Anyway, I'm raising funds for the Ubiculiana section of the Ateneo de Naga Library. Briefly, Ubiculiana is a repository of Bicol books, Bicol songs, poems, old newspapers, basta gabos na tungkol sa Bicol culture and history. And it can be found in the second floor of the Ateneo de Naga Library. It is a resource center for anybody who wants to know and understand about Bicol history and culture. As you can see, it's named after Father James O'Brien, whom we fondly called Father OB. That's why it's called Ubiculiana. It's in a way akin to Filipiniana, but only this time it's for Bicolanos. To give you a sense of what the book is all about, I'd like to read what Professor Ed Garcia, one of the framers of the Philippine 1987 Constitution, wrote in his blurb. And I quote, "Magis, what matters most in life is an invitation to think about the more consequential events that we experience in life, as well as the people who have made a difference in our lives and in the issues that we struggle with the world we live in today." And from our very own Gabi Bordado Jr., a Bicolano legislator, he wrote, "Magis, what matters most in life does not simply focus on a single topic. Instead, it tackles, among others, anything and everything, from fond memories to musings about finding connections in shared and similar human experiences. What binds the collection, however, is a sense of genuineness and honesty that opens up a window for readers to feel these heartwarming human experiences as well. And lastly, from Prosi Abarquez de la Cruz, a journalist and who writes for the Asian Journal in Los Angeles, she said, "Central to the Ignatian spirituality without counting the cost and with no qualm of conscience, one can be a socially responsible and relevant writer only after a process of discernment." Ang gandang pamana, a beautiful legacy embodied in this book. So the book is available at the Ateneo de Naga University Press for 400 pesos. And those people who are in Manila can order the book through Vic Nierva. Vic Nierva was, by the way, was the one who designed the cover of the book. And his phone number is 0917 307 6291. Again, 0917 307 6291. And in Naga, people can also contact Jai Rogiria. And his phone number is 0916 239 8306. 0916 239 8306. I might as well give the phone number sa Ateneo de Naga University Press, which is 054-881-4112. Again, 054-881-4112. I hope you will support our fundraising project to maintain the Ubiculiana section in the Ateneo de Naga Library. Mabalos, dagang salamat. Thanks everyone for your support.
Thank you very much, Sir Greg. Of course, the proceeds, again, will go to Ubiculiana. So buy a copy now. So we are now opening the online space for 3 to 5 of your best questions to our speakers and reactors. Our organizers will be browsing through your comments in our live feed. To start the ball rolling, we have the first question already. This is directed to Irene. Irene, if you are here, the question is, with the current situation of our world, what advice can you give to those who want to pursue their career in sports? It can be for Irene or for NOLI or for any other reactors for that matter who would like to respond. With the current situation of our world, what advice can you give to those who want to pursue their career in sports? Noli? Yes. Irene, did you get the question, Irene?
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm multitasking.
Yeah, sure.
Some VIPs just arrived in my house and I'm going like crazy.
Yes,
Anyway, yeah, I think, in fact, I talked to Noli about putting Mindanao Peace Games over in Paquibato District, which is largely where I work here in Davao. You know, for 50 years, it was very, very violent. And then when we started peace building, in my 9 months, the military declared it free of the violent conflict. And so there is a need now for, if you want to examine what leads people to violent extremism, which is, you know, being an NPA, that's what it is. A lot of it has to do with, you know, what I call push and pull factors. So push factors being poverty, et cetera, et cetera. But then I realized there's also identity. A lot of it is identity, you know, especially, yeah, I mean, young boys and young women. They realize that, you know, they have a sense of belonging. For men, if they have a gun, wow, that's a very good masculine identity. So it's, as far as I'm concerned, you know, what I said about connectors, increasing the connectors and decreasing the dividers. sport, you have a lot to do. We need a lot more to do and to see it. And I like the way the theme is articulated, that it is, through sports you build peace and social development. So I like that kind of framing. So Noli, I think you're the person to finish this off.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Irene. Noli, would you like to add?
Yeah, thanks, Tita Inday. And of course, thank you very much to Fred and to Mike for sharing the space with us and Tita Inday. Carl, one of the things I mentioned in that interview with Eliza is that over the pandemic, I was also very grateful to be given the chance to lead 26 other individuals in publishing a book. It's called Winning Still. And Manu Greg, I contacted already Vic because I want to get a copy also of your book. But in going back to that space of 26 writers plus me, so that's 27, one of our very notable writers is Heidelin Diaz. Of course, when we were writing the book, wala pa siyang Olympic gold. And believe me, when she won that Olympic gold Monday night, I received close to 60 to 70 messages from strangers asking where to buy our book. So just to emphasize how her victory magnified our book. But I'd like to emphasize yung pinagdaanan niya during the pandemic, because at least in those limited times that we encountered her virtually, nung si Heidelin, nung nagkaroon ng lockdown, Heidelin decided to go to Malaysia because that's the best space for her to practice with her team, at least with two of her coaches. Several of our athletes or in our group initially nag-stop, but eventually found a way to go back slowly, not necessarily 100% doing what they were doing before, but to find ways to evolve themselves. You asked, the question was, how can athletes pursue their passion during this time of the pandemic? Very important that you first find your people. Find the right people. Binanggit to ni Fred, binanggit ito ni Tita Inday, yung narrative. Sina Fred, may hashtag. Si Tita Inday, what's your story? In the Mindanao Peace Games, though we know that there is a kalaban involved, we choose to focus on kalaro, kaibigan, kasama. In this pandemic, na-highlight yung limitations, na-highlight yung divisions, na-highlight yung maraming hindi pwedeng gawin. I would encourage those who are listening here to go to the opposite side of the spectrum, what is available. And usually, you find more good news, you find more hope, you find more inspiration if you're in the right group of people. And what do you mean by the right group of people? It's the group of people that you listen to and you feel listened to, and more importantly, your worthiness, your worth shines the most. Binanggit ito ni Gian sa interview, and we emphasize this in the Mindanao Peace Games, atleta at iba pa, coach at iba pa. This pandemic disrupted so many. In the sports world, nawala yung pagiging coach, nawala yung pagiging atleta. Subalit, may at iba pa. Sino ka kung hindi ka coach? Sino ka at hindi ka atleta? And I am very confident that if you find your worth as an individual, a worthy individual will find ways to become a worthy athlete, or at least practitioner or lover of sports. Find the right people during this time. These right people will lead you to the right environment. And when you're in the right environment, it's easier to live your right purpose.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach Noli. The path, take your path. You can take a lot of roles in sports, okay? And be in the right moment at the right time. Our second question from Benjamin Milano from YouTube. In the olden days, wars were averted through sports. Has anybody come up with a program to encourage rebels to form a team to compete with the government team, say in football, archery, marksmanship? Siguro, I think Sir Fred can answer this. Sir Fred?
Nabanggit ko kanina na for the past 5 years ago, at it ran for 3 years, yung aming hashtag respect the rules basketball 3-point shootout at slam dunk. So meron tayong AFP, TNP, and BIAF, Bangsamoro Islamic Armed Forces, at nagkukumpete sila sa 3-point shootout. Although record-wise, ang Army ang laging nananalo, pero hindi yun ang point, no? Napakaganda na pinapakita na sa panahon during this time of the transition of the Bangsamoro region. Yung magkalaban ngayon ay naglalaro at gaya din sa tema ni Coach NOLI, yun, nagkaroon na ng magkasama na. Hindi na adversary or enemy. They used to kill each other and now they pass us the ball and shoot it out. Let's reclaim the shootout word, no? Hindi na barilan, hindi na dapat panahon ng barilan, patayan. So it would be good, may gumaya, no? And so after the games, so may sensitivity din kung magpapatakbo kayo ng mga sports program involving people who used to kill each other or who hate each other, and you put them into one very competitive game. May mga sensitivity na kailangan that you need to really be aware of para ma-avoid yung violence at the end of a game.
All right, thank you very much, Sir Fred. No, paradigm shift, no, from shooting to shooting. No, so I think we have to change our terms and change our relationships. No, paradigm shift, and of course, duplicating. No, that's best practices in sports. So we can do that already with examples of Sir Fred and Sir NOLI. All right, there are not yet a lot of questions from the group. We're still gathering some questions, but I guess we can move forward to our.
Can I?
Yes, Sir Fred, would you like to add something?
Yes, I want to comment on the first question. Kasi if you want to be, during this time of the pandemic, if you want to be involved in sports, it's not necessarily that you become the athlete. No, we have observed during this entire Olympics that there are a lot of things involved in the making of a great athlete, no? There's a nutritionist, there's someone conditioning, someone who, it's a whole entire team, it's a whole sports life or a family of people supporting the athlete. Tinanong ako minsan, ano pa dapat ang mga kurso ng mga bata ngayon? It's not necessarily to really study to become an athlete, but how do you condition one athlete to perform and to get the best potential from an athlete? At dito na nga, I think in this time of the pandemic, ang daming mga bata na gusto, I think, to study sports science, to study sports conditioning, nutrition, and all the other things. There's even one question, a debate. Dapat ba minamasahe ang isang athlete 30 minutes before the fight? Maraming, kung interesado ka talaga sa sports science, why not answer that question? Is there a science of really compete? May perfect athlete ba? Pero interesting siya kasi tinitingnan natin not just about competing, but really the potential of humans to get the best potential. So yun yung point. Kung gusto mong pumasok doon sa sports, there are so many avenues to get into it sa panahon ng pandemic. Lalo na kung mahilig ka rin naman sa internet, di pag-aralan mo, get to study what interests you, hindi lang doon sa pagiging athlete.
Yes, thank you very much, Sir Fred. No, holistic approach, and you just do not just become a coach or a player. You can be around the team, helping them in many, many ways. Thank you very much, Sir Fred. All right, to recognize our special guests today, we come now to the awarding of e-certificates of appreciation and resource speaker. Let me read the citation for Sir NOLI. Certificate of appreciation to Sir NOLI Ayo for unselfishly sharing his time, knowledge, and experience in the as the resource speaker during the 5th annual Father James O'Brien SJ Memorial Lecture Series with the theme Peace Building and Social Development Through Sports, held on September 22, 2021 via Zoom, given this second day of September in the year of our Lord. Signed, Edna M. San Buenaventura, our Vice President, Alfredo Fabay, and of course, our Father President, Father Roberto N. Rivera. So thank you very much, Sir Noli Ayo, for joining us today. I will read the citation for all of our speakers. So the same citation for Sir Fred, Ma'am Irene, and Sir Mike for unselfishly sharing their time, knowledge, and expertise as the reactor during the 5th annual James O'Brien SJ Memorial Lecture Series with the theme Peace Building and Social Development Through Sports, held on September 22, 2021 via Zoom, given today. Signed by Ma'am Edna San Buenaventura again, our Vice President, Dr. Alfredo Fabay, and our Father President, Father Roberto E.N. Rivera, SJ. So thank you very much, Ma'am Irene, Sir Fred, and Doc Mike for your presence today. So we will just, of course, email you a certificate in these days. So thank you very much. We come now to the message and turnover of the O Bicoliana Fund. To deliver a message and turnover, please welcome Mr. Rolly Borja, representative of Ateneo de Naga High School, class 1966. Sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Carlo. To all my fellow Bicolanos, marhay na aldaw po sa Indogabos. To non-Bicolanos around the world listening or viewing this lecture, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Rolly Borjal, a member of Ateneo de Naga class of 1966. I'm here substituting for my batchmate and compadre, Mr. Boy Claro, who unfortunately is in quarantine in Panikwason, Naga City, where there is no broadband connection, so he cannot be with us here today. First of all, the members of class 1966 would like to thank Ateneo de Naga University under the leadership of Father Robert N. Rivera, who has been a source of support and encouragement for the O Bicoliana project. We also would like to say thank you to Miss Edna San Buenaventura, University Librarian, who has been supporting and hand-holding O Bicoliana from the time of its inception in 2016. We also thank those who helped organize this lecture, Mr. Don Razon, who led the prayer, Mr. Jerry Claro, the son of Paring Boy, who introduced our guest speaker, Mr. Carlo Llorin, the son of Sir Nonong, who was my teacher in algebra and who gave me a good grade. The technical team, and all those who, in one way or another, made this lecture possible. Our gratitude goes to our guest speaker, Mr. Noli Ayo, the Reactors, Mr. Fred Lubang, Madam Irene Santiago, and Professor Michael Hernandez for generously sharing their time and talents with us today. And of course, we would like to thank all of you viewers on YouTube and Facebook for taking the time to be here with us today. Diyos mabalos po sa Indogabos. As earlier mentioned by my classmate, good friend, and kinakapatid, Dr. Greg Castilla, O Bicoliana is the Golden Anniversary Legacy Project of Class 66. It is a tribute to our late mentor, Father James O'Brien, Father Obi, hence the name O Bicoliana. If I remember right, the name was coined by our batchmate, Mr. Ernie Verdadero. Father Obi loved Bicolandia so much, its language, its history, its culture, and its people that he became a true Bicolano himself in every sense of the word. I even dare to say that he was more Bicolano than some Bicolanos. After 5 years, Bicolana has now become the primary resource center, if not the only resource center for materials on Bicol language, history, and culture. Throughout the last 5 years, Bicolana has been acquiring books, publications, documents, and artifacts relative to Bicol culture, Bicol history, and Bicol language. I understand all materials on Bicol language, history, and culture of the James J. O'Brien University are now housed in Bicolana. It is now the go-to place for students, teachers, professors, academics, and just anybody who is interested to do research work on Bicol language, history, and culture. But there is still much to be done. The Bicolana web pages must be improved and maintained. Acquisition of books, publications, and other materials must continue. We need to digitize all the written materials so that they can be easily accessed online. That's why the members of Class 66 are always striving to raise funds in order to sustain Bicolana and grow it. One of these efforts is, of course, Dr. Castilla's book, Badges. But we are not averse to receiving help from the outside. Bicolana welcomes gifts and donations from any and all who love and want to promote and preserve the Bicol language, history, and culture. So if you wish to help Bicolana, please let us know. The annual James J. O'Brien S.J. Memorial Lecture Series is Bicolana's way of regularly remembering Father Obi and his immense contribution to the preservation of the Bicol language, history, and culture. So, let me end by inviting you to be with us again next year for the next lecture. Primum Regnum Dei, ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam. Diyos mabalas po sa inyong kabos. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Roland. To accept the donation and give his words of gratitude, we have Ateneo de Naga University President, Father Roberto E.N. Rivera, S.J. Father?
Dear friends, mga tugang, mga igsoon, mga gala, Diyos marhay na aga sa sindugabos, maayong buntag kaninyong tanan. We are yet again truly grateful to Ateneo de Naga High School Batch 1966, led by their coordinator, Dr. Greg Castilla and Sir Raul Borjal, Sir Boy Claro, for this generous annual donation for the support and upkeep of the Bicolana section of the Father James O'Brien S.J. Library here at the Ateneo. We are likewise very grateful that this generous and meaningful offering always happens in the context of the Father James O'Brien Memorial Lecture Series, now on its 5th annual run. I believe it is indeed very appropriate and moving that this year's Father O.B. Memorial Lecture, happening against the grim backdrop of the worsening pandemic, has dwelt on the topic of sports and peace building, sports and nation building. We are very grateful for today's distinguished and inspiring speakers and reactors, Sir NOLI Ayo, Sir Fred Lubang, Ma'am Irene Santiago, Professor Michael Hernandez. We are thankful to Ma'am Edna San Buenaventura for all the efforts in organizing this forum, and to Sir Calurin for hosting. Salamat po sa St. Gabos. Daghang salamat, gyud kaninyong tanan. Perhaps this morning's forum teaches us, above all, that despite all obstacles and upheavals, we are called to go beyond all trials in a spirit of hope and courage. whether it be the quiet work of preserving culture through archival and historical records, whether it be in the arena of sports and competition, whether it be the task of teaching and learning. All these are privileged means by which we can promote peace and build our nation. This morning reminds us yet again that the human spirit cannot be caged, it cannot be stifled, not even by COVID. Indeed, when a garbage scavenger rises from poverty to fight for the nation's honor in the boxing ring, when youth for all over Mindanao cast aside their differences to build friendships through sports competition, when a woman weightlifter training in obscurity and shunned by big donors who would rather support basketball and other glamorous sports brings home the long-awaited gold, when an American Jesuit teaches us Filipinos love for Bicol culture, we are reminded that indeed all things are possible for a better and brighter world. So I believe, just to end, the last word should really go to Father Obi, since this is his memorial lecture. Father Obi was also my fourth-year high school class moderator at the Ateneo de Manila, where he transferred to after his stint here in Bicol. And I remember very well, whenever he would be angry with us, which I think was quite often, he would always tell us students, "Come on, old bean, you can do better than that." Old bean, that's what he liked to call his students. "Come on, old bean, you can do better than that." I believe this morning has inspired us yet again that we can do better, truly better, for our nation, for our world. Once again, thank you to everyone. Just mabalos po sa Sindugabos.
Thank you very much, Father. Thank you very much, everyone. To one of the closing activities for any online event would be a picture taking. So I'd like to ask everyone to open their cameras here in the Zoom room so that we can
Thank you.